Hey, hey, hey. Conversations with Lady O, Seasons of Mirror Work begins. I am your host, Lady O, and we're just going to pick up from where we left off. I find I am getting less and I have to make my videos less and less because this is exhausting. When you think about information that has been put out by so many different platforms trying to wake up Canadians, it is exhausting to see that we're here, and it's like we have to remind people of, and it's like those of us who are seeing this train wreck, it's just like we still have to do it, but you're just like, what is it going to take to just snap mass amount of people who are disengaged? They're not on the social media, they're living their lives, they're trying to figure out their work, and they're in school, and they're just going to go based on what they hear. Again, based on what they hear is what the media saturates. So it's one of those things that the masses don't believe this, and the masses are only hearing regurgitation of one narrative. So they're going to vote thinking that what they're hearing is the truth. So we have to keep permeating the airways and talking to our neighbors. It's good that we're on social media, and I'm saying this to all content creators that's trying to push the information up, but don't forget to actually engage with your neighbors. If you live in apartment buildings, go door to door. It's cold outside now still, but you can still go door to door, floor to floor. You're in the elevator, you're at work, you're in the grocery store. Smile, find a way to conjure up a conversation, and just test the temperature to let people know that there is an election coming up. And the state of Canada is because of Carney, who was the advisor of Trudeau. Don't let him fool you. And then send them to the pages that you know have the information. Send them to my page, the other content creators I'm showing you pages, the ones that you know. Send them there. This is how our cousins south of the border made it too big to rig. Remember that hashtag and those phrases, too big to rig? Because the same thing that they're doing in the South is what they're trying to rinse and repeat in the North by saturating the media. I saw the Sun, the Star, everybody, they're bringing people. I just saw somebody made a comment on the Sun. Allow this man to lie and say, oh, Carney's just coming and his timing is amazing and he just came and I'm like, lie. You all know Carney's been the hidden hand for the past 9 years. So I do totally comprehend why Pierre Polivier says, I don't want you guys on my bus. Like, you are the reason. You, the media, you are the one who's destroying the country. We could talk about the liberals, but the liberals are getting away with it because you are allowing him to. And you're acting like you don't think this is going to come close to home. You're only caring because your job right now is secure. Journalists is not journalistic integrity anymore. You guys are enablers. You're co-conspirators to what's been happening. The whole lot of you. You allowed my children, other people's children's lives to be totally shattered. Patrick Brown, mayor, him and his friends were able to go out and play hockey, but then he's given bylaw officers permission to go and ticket mothers and fathers who want their children to go out and get fresh air. Listen, you guys want people to forget? We're not going to forget. People's whose lives were destroyed, we're not going to forget. Our children's not going to forget. Their peers are not going to forget. The children who were kicked out of their dorms, who couldn't even go to school. Like, you guys are so privileged. You really. Let me stop, because the damaged Canadian media allowed on their watch. I have people like, his last name I think was Mello, who was freaking out and asking the minister about people who are unmasked and just freaking the heck out Although we have enough data to tell you to calm down. These masks that you're wearing, it is not of any benefit. There's a certain grade of mask that is, the other things was just for you to feel safe, but it wasn't doing anything. Colin Mello, I think, I can't remember, but I remember that last name was Mello. I remembered how he was freaking the heck out. Come to hear the truth now on the sworn testimony by the same Dr. Fauci who started the whole lies. That Dr. Tam, rinse and repeat. Sesame Street, rinse and repeat. Elmo and Big Bird, rinse and repeat. Task force coming into specific communities to rinse and repeat. Fast forward, testimony, all lies. They were the misinformation. We saw them, we talk about hot mic moment. We saw the same journalists who captured these ministers with no mask on. And right when they got to the corner, they put the mask on to then take the mask off when they believed the cameras were now in plain view. We saw it over and over. We had hot mics where they didn't know the mic was on and we heard them. And you guys still, oh my God. The young people, the families that you guys put so much pressure and breaking points. The lives that were lost, the young people who unalived themselves because of the isolation. Listen, you and your crew might talk about 1% of fentanyl as if that is not. But the percentage that unalived themselves, one child was one too many. When I hear journalists downplay and say, oh, it's only 1%, that's the fentanyl. I'm sorry, that's somebody's child, somebody's loved one. What was the percentage of those unaliving themselves because of depression and isolation? What was the percentage of families whose house was broken? Marriages. Can't see grandma, can't see grandpa. Elderly people who are isolated. Oh my God. And you have the nerve to tell me to forget and move on? The lives that was destroyed. Lying Carney. Narcissist Justin. Condescending Christia. And corrupted Doug. You guys are going to put them back into play? Justin's out for now, but he's not gone. He's raising up another Trudeau generation to somehow fool you guys and make you think that his children are the new and improved. No, they're all from the same tree. This is Canada. This is what the Liberal Party is now. I'm a classical liberal, and that's why I'm happy I left a long time ago. This is what it is now to be liberal? Really? This is why people would say in my feelings, because I came up on this where this is recent. This young man was one of the brave ones that was trying to wake you Canadians up, letting you know that Justin needs to go. And now you're okay in Justin going because of just wanting to win. We were telling you Justin needed to go a long time ago. You have young people. I understand the feeling. Like this young man. The next generation who is trying to wake you guys up. And this is the police. This is what we call law and order. This was our police that was just doing their jobs. I remember someone says a wealthy man was interviewing him, and he was from CIA. Now he's retired and he's doing private security and high profile. And he was saying, you know, when he was at this billionaire's house, and he's like, what do you do? And he goes, oh, I was in Iraq, I was on tour. And he goes, what did you do in Iraq? And he goes, you know, I was doing my job. And he goes, that's what the Nazis said. And he said he just had to be quiet and just take that in. That young man I'm talking about, his name is Byron Rogers, a YouTube channel. Now he's dedicating his channel and his life now to bringing back masculinity in a positive way, and just being honest that he said he drank the juice, talking about being in the military, until he realized, like, why am I killing these people? And it just dawned on him that it's like, what am I doing? His own testimony is like, up until last week, some of his comrades are unaliving themselves because of the weight of the guilt. I don't think, you know, you people who love to go to war and send people's children to war and think Trump is a bad guy by wanting peace. You have no idea what the post-traumatic stress is after combat. You guys don't care because you go on your emotions. Ukraine, my people. Somebody's child, somebody's dying in these wars that could have ended a long time ago, but you don't care. So anyhow, Byron Rogers over on YouTube. You could check him out. He shares his testimony, and now he's on a mission, and good for him. War is not something that anybody should be happy to have occur, because you're killing someone because your government tells you to do so. You have to follow orders, or you are charged. You're court-martialed. I understand people talk about serving the military, but I told all of my children, not under these conditions. I did not birth you for you to die for these rich people and these elitists to be in their ivory towers, sending you to go and fight battles that is over greed and lies and manipulation. It's not a righteous war. It isn't by any means. No, it's not. At the root of all these wars is greed, manipulation, and hate. Hate for what is truth. Hate for what is moral. Hate for what is good. So this young man was one of the young Canadians he had a conscience, and he knew what was happening to his generation and was wrong, forcing them to put things in their body. And then these are the law enforcements that are just doing their job and they are the ones ready to commit violence on peaceful protesters. They were the violent ones. Every one of them who think that their paycheck was justified for them to do the things that they know was wrong. Because they had comrades, they had colleagues that walked away. They witnessed, and they know colleagues that did not comply. If they could have done it, then you could have done it too. You chose not to, because you said your paycheck was more important. You had colleagues that said there is no amount of money that can buy me to go along with this. You said that there is a dollar figure that can buy me. We all have a choice. You also had a choice. This young man passed away.
You're hindering their service that they're trying to provide for people, and over this ridiculous waiver that you pulled off the internet.
I didn't just pull it off the internet. This waiver right here is what...
We simply asked you to leave,
Let me finish. This waiver is the waiver from your website, which you have to sign if you actually get this vaccine. When you go...
No, they don't. They don't,
Sir,
buddy.
this is the waiver on your website.
Vaccinating thousands of people.
people in the past. Like, this is the waiver on your website. I pulled it off
I've never seen that before.
Do you want me to show you a screenshot? It's from the website. This is from the website. You want to see?
I'm sorry you've been misinformed.
I have not been misinformed. You have. Look, there's the website right there. You see? It's on the website. This waiver right here. It wouldn't print.
You to leave. So here's your chance right now. You can go this way to the exit.
Or what? You're going to pull me out of my car and arrest me?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want to do that? You can turn the car off right now and get out. We'll arrest you. You want to do that or you want to leave?
It's very simple.
Listen, I haven't done anything wrong.
That was our law enforcement at our finest. Law enforcement that apparently don't know what was on their own website, and then told him he's lying. And when he shows them the website, then they're like, well, you got to leave. And he's like, but this is a waiver that you need to sign. They don't want to sign it. Then they're threatening him. If you don't leave, we're going to. This was our law enforcement at its finest. This was 2021. This was our law enforcement. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this was them. Just doing my job, Lady O. I was just doing my job. Well, obviously you didn't even know your job because you didn't even know it was on your own site. I'm telling you, this young man, he did his best. He fought the fight. What he did is not going to be in vain. One of the many that stood up. The timestamp is down here. There it was. 2021. Because we have activist judges here in Canada too. We think it's just activist judges in America. No, we have activist judges here as well. Especially the fact that you have the Liberal Party putting their minister over the judicial system, and then you have Ontario, Doug Ford, having his. So the judges are going to continue enforcing these people who, even after the fact, now we know we have enough evidence that they were right. The activist judges still enforce, and the Crown is what has kept all of this occurring. We might want to blame Justin and everybody, but remember when they swear to the Crown, the sovereign that is over us. Our sovereignty is as a result of who is over us. Don't see the web of the deception and how deep this thing is, and you have the opportunity to swim out of it. You have the opportunity to get out of it. Opportunities given to you every step of the way to do a course correction. As much as I can send my condolences to their family, I would like for their family to know in the depths of their grief, their grieving, to really know that their life was not in vain. That moment when you gave birth to these young men and these young women, these brave young men and these brave young women, you had no idea it was for 2020. All we know is what was said here, that he was sentenced he was sentenced just a month ago. So this was going on since 2021. As I told you, the judges are still enforcing the lie. The judges were still enforcing the lie. There's many whose cases has not thrown out. You would think, talk about justice, you would think that all these cases will be thrown out because we've now have the evidence that these people were correct. Of us that had name called and the damages that was done to our lives, our businesses, education. Like I would love to have heard that a special task force, government-wise, was going to be created for that. The same way how Christia Freeland froze bank accounts, I would like love for her bank account, Justin's bank account, everybody that was attached, all the Liberal MPs that was attached to this. I would love to have their bank accounts frozen, and then the damages that is being awarded to citizens, that they are the ones that have to pay. I would love for that to happen. It would not replace the lives that are lost to those families. And it would still let the families know that they're being seen, and that the loss of life was not forgotten. We didn't forget you. As life moves on for other people, these families who've lost loved ones as a result of Justin Trudeau's mandates and his stiff neck and his tone-deaf narcissism, there's a long list. These families ought to know that as these people think their lives went on, we know that these families' life stopped for them. When parents walked into rooms and found their children unalived because of isolation, depression, like moving on isn't as easy for those who have lost. See, the MPs on the Justin Trudeau and in the cabinet, they haven't lost. They've actually been rewarded. Justice served is required at some level. And the judges who are on the bench, many need to be removed, or at least be re-educated as to the truth and apply the law now to all those cases, given the truth we know now, that back then these people were standing on the right side of the law. They were standing on the right side of conscience. And now we have the evidence to back it. So yes, we're going to grandfather clause it back to all these cases. They're going to be dismissed without any prejudice against them, and give them the ability to recoup damages. The businesses are going to say, but we were just following orders. Law enforcement is going to say we're just following orders. But it's going to go all the way back, because there's always somewhere in someone's manual that following the rule, when you know something is morally wrong, there should still be a consequence, because we don't want this to happen again in our society. What is going to be the consequence to make sure that this does not happen again? There has to be some type of financial consequence to send a message from the politician to law enforcement, to bylaw officers, to your pastor, to your employer, to your principal, to your trustee. There has to be a message that's sent to these human beings that this can never happen again, where no one's human rights can ever be violated because of your fear. No one's human rights should ever be violated again because you refuse to want to listen to evidence from another source that is reputable, from other scientists, other doctors, other health officials, other virologists, other academics with the same credentials of you. Your fear should never override the human rights of someone who's listened and they have other information that you may not have. Why don't you get their information? And under no circumstance should anybody lose the ability to provide for themselves, get an education, move freely, provide the basic needs. Nobody's job should be deemed essential or not essential. As long as your job brings in the paycheck, it is essential. Because it's essential that you can pay your rent. It's essential that you can put food on the table. The family of David, if you ever come across this podcast, I know it's not much to hear as a result of the loss and the grieving that you are going through. But if at all it does bring any sense of comfort, later on, maybe now it isn't, just know that when I found out about this, that I had not just a moment of silence, but a long day of reflection. Just know that many of us are reflecting, and we remember. We may not have known him, but we saw these pictures. We may not have known him, but we know many like him who stood up. Our hearts go out to you, and our hearts go out to him for the long battle that he went through. And it says apparently it took a toll on him. We don't know what that means. However it means, it does not escape the fact that he suffered for doing the right thing. As much as we have a premier that lied and said, sorry folks, we got it wrong, and he put on an appearance of asking for grace and forgiveness, and even to the point when Justin Trudeau was still hanging on and he's saying, come on folks, just got to move on with it. He came to the point of wanting us just to move on with it. I realized that Doug Ford has not moved on. He has not changed. Just like Doug Ford has all of his elected officials that he can count and he can guarantee that they would comply to corruption and they will stay quiet for a paycheck, so too is Carney choosing those to remain around him who he knows has been tested, tried, and true to also comply to corruption and be quiet for a paycheck. Our government has gone rogue. You've allowed the provincial to come back. You've put in a mayor who is also compliant. And now federal level, there's one leg left. There is something coming. Are you going to put the first line of defense on guard? And that is not the Liberal or NDP. And it definitely is not the Green either. But let's just stick with the contenders per se. It definitely is not the Liberal or NDP. We can put more confidence in the Conservative Party because they did a revolt during this whole epidemic when Erin O'Toole was in lockstep with Justin and Jagmeet. We can have confidence that there are those in the Conservative Party federally who have a sense of moral compass, or they're still attuned to their conscience. Yeah. The first line of defense is the most important. This is Lady O. Stay in action with faith and possibility. Walk in and protect your light. Your purpose will find you. Say what you mean and live like you mean what you say.